Today's hike, hopefully, will be called the Eye of the Needle hike. People have been calling the loop from South Kaibab Trail to Bright Angel Trail the Cowboy Loop. So I'm going to describe this one, going down Bright Angel Trail, River Trail, over to South Kaibab, crossing Black Bridge, Silver Bridge, and back up the Eye of the Needle. It's a confidence-building hike and also a potential substitute for a rim-to-rim hike. The map mile distance is 21 or 22 miles, depending upon the source you look at. Commenting on map miles, many people use fitness trackers or cell phone maps, and they tend to be very optimistic in the mileage. Rim to rim is 23 map miles if you use Bright Angel Trail. I've used a fitness tracker and it says it's 30 miles. Two things with that: there's a fair degree of inaccuracy with the fitness trackers. They also may be overly optimistic. Maybe they make you happy about the mileage you're doing. Plus, I imagine when they measured these, they either did it with a measuring wheel or some kind of surveyor's tool right down the middle of the trail. And we don't hike down the middle of the trail, or at least I don't. You zig and zag from side to side. So you probably cover a lot more miles than map miles, but that's just a reliable source to use in deciding how far you're going. Comment on a couple of things on this hike. One is about the maximal cushion shoes. I'm wearing Topo Trail Ventures. They're wearing through. I put a little caulking on these to keep them going. Hopefully it'll keep the waterproofing. I started hiking in relatively thin shoes, Salomon Ultra 3s and Ultra Lone Peaks. And you feel every rock through those. As your feet age, you have less padding on the bottom, so maximal cushions are good for that. But what really brought me into these maximal cushions is the step downs. I am painfully slow going downhill, and I thought if I had a little more cushioning and I could go maybe 1 or 2% faster on the step downs, it would be to my benefit, and I believe they've helped with that. So I'm a real believer in these maximal cushion shoes. One other thing is about durability. These are hybrid kind of running shoe, hiking shoe. They don't wear very well. They tend to wear out within a year. And similarly, for backpacks, I like a suspended backpack with this kind of mesh, which keeps you from sweating too much. And these don't wear as well as a more traditional pack. But one of the sacrifices I believe that it's worth making for comfort and function on the trail are products that don't last as long. I usually have a purpose in making my videos. I script them in advance, and that stops me from saying and as much as I am today. Today I didn't script anything. I make these videos hopefully to share some of the knowledge I've gained and experiences along the trail. And let me be clear that these videos aren't to make money. I make about a penny a day on the videos I've made. Trips like this will cost $500, $600, $700. So as a financial enterprise, these are money losers. These are made for fun, for the experience of making videos, but there's no profit involved in this. The point today, it's kind of mixed. It's just going to be a mixed bag of some experiences, maybe a little bit of history along the trail, maybe some of the spectacular views. The sun is just hitting the battleship right behind where I'm talking, and we'll pan over to that in just a second. So it's a mixed bag hike. For somebody who's never done this hike before, the Eye of the Needle hike, it'll be a little bit of a trail guide. And this can serve as a great substitute for a rim-to-rim hike. For example, if you don't want to deal with the details of getting transportation from North Rim back to South Rim or something like that, you can do this hike. You can start at the top, go to the bottom, make it back up to the top, cover the same distance as rim to rim, and have the satisfaction in an efficient package. So let's take a look at that sun hitting the battleship and move on. I've been making these videos for about a year now, and in this time, some of my strategies have evolved. I used to bring donuts and sweet treats with me, and since then I've decided to go with all natural whole foods, and it's worked out a lot better. At the end of a vigorous hike, sometimes I would have problems with my stomach, and the natural foods work out a whole lot better. I usually hike about once a month at Grand Canyon. Bright Angel Trail has been closed for 5 months, so I get to see in a more extreme manner the changes that have been occurring. In this time period, I had a couple of more injuries, although it's not my point to complain about those injuries. I was a member of a cancer survivors group, and in that group, we had a term, new normal, to describe the process of adjusting to a post-surgery world where some adjustment was necessary. And I suppose that term also applies to accommodating the aging process. As I come down the trail, I'm slower than I've ever been, but I'm adjusting to the new normal. And my compensation will be starting earlier, giving myself more time, going more slowly. And at least I'm out here enjoying the enormous beauty here in Grand Canyon as the sun rises on this early May day. It's a beautiful day to hike. One of my sayings is this: aging isn't fun, but it beats being dead. I've been making these videos for about a year now, and one of the early ones was tips for older hikers, which is probably the most successful video. And in that I added a tip, watch every step. And I felt a little bit silly about it because it's so basic, but it's been some of the commenters' most favorite section. And the more I think about hiking, the more I think that the most important thing during a hike is don't fall, especially for an older hiker. The consequences of a fall can be permanent injury, certainly ending your hike and perhaps forever ending your hike. So my goal on the hike is don't fall. Poles help with that. Good shoes help with that. Watching every step helps with that. And a slow pace helps with that. So one of my new conclusions hiking is, what our goal is, don't fall. I've been hiking regularly for about a decade now, and my policy has always been drink when you're thirsty. But lately I've been thinking about this, and this is a question for you viewers, is why not just tank up when you're at the water stations? Consume as much as you can consume and then go forward. Does that help, hurt, or make any difference at all? At this point in time, I've been doing it on 2 or 3 hikes. I really don't see that it makes a difference, but please give me your opinion. Does tanking up on water at your water stop help or hurt or make no difference? It was 42 degrees this morning. It's 8:15 in the morning on the top of the Devil's Corkscrew, 86 degrees here. I always joke about Grand Canyon can be a 3-season hike, can start in winter, go through spring and summer. Today, just a 2-season hike starting in spring, and it certainly will be summer later in the day. Devil's Corkscrew on the way up will probably exceed 100 degrees. At the bottom of Devil's Corkscrew, you can see where Bright Angel Trail used to run. It was a very, very rough trail. Bright Angel has been reconfigured multiple times. On Devil's Corkscrew, it used to keep on going up a canyon instead of going around along Garden Creek. The Civilian Conservation Corps, 1932 through the start of World War II, did enormous work on improving the trails and building the rest houses and making Grand Canyon a more enjoyable place to hike. I know I keep harping on poles, but I can't emphasize enough how important they are to my safety during a hike. I already saved myself from one sure fall with the poles and 1 or 2 likely. When you reach a certain age, the cost of falling is way too high. I should know this knee problem is the result of a fall about a year ago. So for me, poles are one of the most essential tools for safe hiking. Pipe Creek Beach is the terminus of Bright Angel Trail, although most people consider this area named River Trail as a continuation of Bright Angel Trail. Actually, this trail was built 1932-1933, completed in early 1933 by the Civilian Conservation Corps, a make-work program for youths at the end of the Great Depression. 18 to 25-year-olds did a phenomenal job making this trail out of the hardest rock in Grand Canyon. And so much of the canyon, River Rest House that we just saw, was built by the Civilian Conservation Corps. First view of the river, it's a little bit green, means it's running slow. When it's running fast, it's a muddy brown, colorado, the color red. From here, you can also see Zarathustra Temple. I have some words about that in the Creation Controversy video, which is kind of fun if you have a chance to watch it. We're going to keep going down River Trail, heading for connecting with South Kaibab Trail, going across Black Bridge, going through the Phantom Ranch area, returning on Silver Bridge, doing the Eye of the Needle, heading back to the rim, 21 or 22 map miles. This area here, when you reach Pipe Creek Beach, are about 8.1 map miles, depending upon whose source you choose to follow. It's going to be hot as heck, but let's keep on hiking and see how it goes. The view of Silver Bridge from River Trail and the Colorado River is something I never tire of. You go through all sorts of micro environments at Grand Canyon. We were walking through a stream area with bamboo, and what you wouldn't expect are sand dunes, but here we are walking through sand dunes along the River Trail. River Trail is probably the hottest place it gets on South Rim. Everyone talks about Devil's Corkscrew, which is painful in the full sun and painful with the exertion of going up the hill. But to me, this is about as hot as it gets. Backpack thermometer is currently reading 80 degrees, so it's not so bad yet, at around 9:15, 9:30 in the morning. Hopefully we'll get out of here before it hits 100 and make this hike happen. The fun thing about this Eye of the Needle is you get to cross both bridges. River Trail from Silver Bridge to when it connects with South Kaibab is one of the least traveled sections of the trails at Grand Canyon. It is heavily traveled though by the mules. The mules can only cross Black Bridge. They don't cross on the open grading in Silver. So you'll find lots of mule refuse here, but not many people on the trail. One of my sayings is watch every step. But a corollary to that is watch every snake. We're in the pink area here. Grand Canyon has a unique pink colored rattlesnake. I've run across these twice on my hikes, which with more than 100 hikes means about 2% of the time I've encountered pink rattlesnakes. Always good in the hot weather to keep your eye on the ground. Watch out for those pink rattlesnakes because they look just like a pink rock when they're coiled up. Watch every step and watch every snake. The views are pretty spectacular on this section of River Trail. And you're looking back at Phantom, at Bright Angel Creek, and all of a sudden you pop out onto South Kaibab and head on down to Black Bridge. Crossing the bridges, probably one of the most fun things about this portion of the hike. This unnamed footbridge was built by the CCC in 1936 and modified in 1965 to carry the Trans-Canyon Pipeline. Bright Angel Creek is running strong with the snowmelt on this day. Black Bridge was built in 1928 by the National Park Service. All of the parts were carried down by mules or men. Silver Bridge was built in 1965 as part of the $2.5 million Trans-Canyon Pipeline, and it was built by carrying things in by helicopter. Fairly impressive structure nonetheless. The open grading, I imagine, allows for easy repairs of the pipeline, which appears below. The hike back is a bit of work, not too exciting. It is a significant hike. Well, I mean, it's equivalent to rim. Today's weather forecast had a little tiny icon of clouds. I didn't expect much, but there are some blissfully welcome clouds, making it a lot cooler than it could be, which is just a wonderful experience on this return hike. The heat could be truly oppressive. So far the hike is going great. 4.5, 5 miles left, and looks like we're going to make it. A lot of lessons for me on this hike. My downhill was so painfully slow on the rim to rim. I'm going to give myself more time, earlier start, bring extra headlight batteries and be able to change out. Uphill, doing real well as usual, but the downhills are something that have gotten slower with age. One of the realities of aging and accommodating aging, early start is one of the accommodations that I make. The Park Service says you should never hike rim to river to rim in a day, and I'm quite confident they are right. Listen to them, not to me. Clouds are getting heavier. I would guess there's about a 30% chance of rain. That's not good because I didn't bring rain equipment, but there's 4.5 miles left, so even if it's pouring rain, it's doable, just not comfortable. Anyway, I'm going to keep moving along expeditiously. Just a few remaining miscellaneous things. Bugs have been real bad on this hike. I use bug spray before I hike, but I also bring along this. I call it a bug pencil. It's a Repel Max 40% DEET, and these happen to be refillable. So if you buy one, you can just screw the top off and pour some more of the bug spray in and refill them and not have to go to the expense of doing this. I also bring along an eyeglass case. When I get sweaty, my eyeglasses slide off, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I wear them to see perfectly, but they're like a -1 diopter, so they're not really necessary. This is an aluminum case I just got from Amazon, extremely light, and protects the glasses when it's hot, and the glasses would be sliding off. Final thing, it's been crazy busy on the trail today. I've never seen it this busy. Other than during rim to rim season. A lot of the places I intended to take breaks were full of people, and I wasn't able to take my usual breaks, which threw me off a little bit. But Grand Canyon keeps becoming more and more popular. I think social media probably has a role in that. Also, speaking of social media, two different groups recognized me from the videos, which was very kind of them to mention that they had seen the videos on YouTube. So I appreciated their kind words. So the hike is just about over. Maybe record one more time before we hit the top, and let's get this done. Looking like it probably won't rain, which is a good thing, but the clouds are a very, very welcome thing on a hot day. Okay, so this is the post-mortem on the hike. I'm on the back porch of my room at Maswick North, and I'm all showered up. I'd intended to do a segment about affection for a place. I'm not much of a sentimental guy, but I really like Grand Canyon, and it's played an important role in my life. But the trail at the end of the hike was crowded, and I tried to avoid putting other people into these videos. This hike was the same distance as a rim to rim on South Kaibab going to North Kaibab, and I made it, albeit slowly. The knee issue slowed me down by about 20% on the downhills, but the uphills were about average. In 2 weeks, I'm doing rim to rim, and I'm going to start a half hour or maybe even an hour earlier. That's starting at 12:30 or midnight. And I'll plan to use the replacement batteries I always carry to keep the trail lighted at night. The hike was tough, but not impossible. It gives me the confidence to do a rim to rim hike in about 2 weeks from now, and hopefully to do the return hike, rim to rim to rim as well. So thanks for joining me on this hike, and as always, thank you for watching.